Heartland Highways is made possible in part by Consolidated Communications offers customers high-speed internet, digital phone service, and digital TV service packages that include high-definition channels, DVR, and hundreds of sports, movies, and music channels. More information on these services is available at consolidated.com.
You won't want to miss this week's show, if nothing else, for the wipeouts, so don't go away. Welcome back to Heartland Highways. I'm Kate Pleasant.
And I'm Lori Casey. When I heard about a place in Illinois that was becoming a mecca for water skiing and wakeboarding, I had to check it out, and I brought Kate along with me.
You sure did. We met owners Doug and Kristen Meeker, who were fortunate enough to turn their passion for the sport into a business, something that happened kind of by accident.
After years of looking for their own piece of lakeshore property, Doug and Kristen Meeker happened upon this body of water off Interstate 74 in Farmers City, Illinois. These borrow pit or interstate lakes are common sights, especially here in Illinois.
Illinois is flat. There's no water in Illinois. But every time there has to be a railroad bridge or an interstate change, they have to raise the elevation of the highway. So if you look around, there's little bitty lakes all over the place. And for years, every time I drove somewhere, I'm looking over the side, is that big enough to drive? Is that big enough to ski? And that's always kind of what we were looking for. Well, this particular lake, the interstate change in Farmers City is a very long elevated change. There's a couple different roads they have to go over. There's a railroad bridge they have to go over. Then they have the interchange. So it's probably several miles long of an elevated road instead of just up and down a bridge. Well, that required a lot of dirt to be moved. This particular lake works really well because when they dug it, they hit the water table in the area that we're in is fairly high, and they hit water really early. So instead of digging very deep and taking less footprint of ground, they had to make it very big and wide, and couldn't dig as deep. So that actually turned out to be a great ski lake because it had to make a really big lake instead of a small lake.
And that's where the story of the Liquid Edge begins.
The very first day we actually skied here, we're out skiing on the lake, and somebody stops along the interstate and finds a way down here. And says, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" "Oh, well, we're skiing." "Why?" And so, "Well, let me know if there's any way I can ever ski here. If you would coach me, I'd ski." "Well, okay, maybe that's an option." Well, all right, kind of laughed about it. Next day, second day, we skied here. That was Saturday. On Sunday, we were skiing. Somebody else stopped. The first gentleman was from Mahomet, so 12 miles away or so. The second person was from Chicago. Next day, they were driving down the interstate. "Well, what are you doing? We saw buoys on the lake. What's going on?" Same exact story. No. "Well, would you like teach and this was an older gentleman, would you teach my grandchildren how to water ski? I'd love it if you could do that." "Well, no, we're not going to talk about it." Well, then you sit around and tell the same story to all your friends, and they're like, "Hey, you should start up a ski school."
My feet are still right over the top of my hands. So
we were very lucky, and just kind of through word of mouth started, and as people started getting coaching, for some people it was truly to get better. For some people it was just to get on the water. Regardless, they were having fun again.
So lessons turned into a pro shop, which turned into a boat dealership, all within a few short years. And because the lake is right here, the Liquid Edge is able to offer a unique opportunity to their customers.
It's everything that we have, you can go out and try it before you buy it. A lot of these things are expensive, and we get that full experience of picking something that fits the rider, fits the person, and then they get to try it. So most people in this area have to order from a magazine, and that's really their only choice, or drive 3 or 4 hours.
But perhaps more than selling skis, ropes, and boats, the Meekers are selling fun. And what could be better than that?
So when people come here, they're happy, and we love to show people how to do things. And so you get somebody, whether it's getting somebody up on a ski for their first time or their first new boat, or it doesn't matter what it is, you get that, I don't know, just excitement. So a new car people get excited about, but this is like a new fun, and it's a new family thing, and they just get really excited, so it's easy to to have fun with it, because people are they're happy when they're here.
I pulled a lady this week that hadn't skied in 20 years, and she just giggled all the way around the lake. She got up and was so excited. I haven't done this in 20 years, and she was just so happy. It was like bringing back a childhood memory. And that's just, it's fun. It's just great.
Doug, who worked as a mechanical engineer, now spends all of his time in the business. Kristen, an IT manager, splits her time between that job and working here. For both of them, this has become a 24/7 job, primarily because their home adjoins the shop. While the days can be long, neither of them seem to mind. I mean, if this is your office, would you mind?
Once the day starts, I don't put Dockers on and dress shoes, and I don't have to wear a collared shirt. I go to work in flip-flops and board shorts and a t-shirt. And that's the way my customers and our clients and water skiers and boat owners come in, is in the same attire. Boating is fun. Everything around it should be fun. It should not be stressful.
That casual, laid-back atmosphere has made the Liquid Edge a popular hangout for many, and they're coming from all over the country.
Last week we had people from Colorado that spent the week here, and just to ski, kind of hang out, live on the lake, get some lessons, which are great. Not very many of us are ever going to be a pro caliber skier, but they want to ski and have fun and be safe and have that special attention, and it's great.
A big part of the Liquid Edge business comes from coaching and lessons. So Kate and I decided to take them up on their offer. Having skied but never wakeboarded before, I really wanted to give it a try. And another, okay, maybe one more.
What's actual? That was fun. We might not be able to walk tomorrow, but
We're trying to decide if you're going to drive home or not. Are you going to be able to?
While I rested my arms and legs, it was Kate's turn on the skis. All right, so we're not exactly pros, but it wasn't a bad way to spend our day. For those with surely better techniques than Kate and I, the Liquid Edge brings in professional water skiers and wakeboards to do clinics during the summer months. Anyone who's ever followed professional water skiing probably knows the name Wade Cox, who's considered the Michael Jordan of the sport.
With your hip, okay, with your downside hip.
He's like the man. So he's the probably one of the most notorious water skiers out there. So he came today to do instruction. So everybody's going to go out and get to ski 2 sets with Wade, have lunch, and just hang out with people who love to ski.
What you're doing is you're dropping your shoulder. When you're leaving the wake, you're putting your shoulder down. So then when you come up, you have to take the tilt from your shoulders and go this way too much, and then your ski shoots down the lake, okay?
Somebody like Wade Cox is somebody that I literally idolized growing up. He was the competitive skier that I wanted to be, and I tried to ski like him, and some of that was good, some of it was bad, and but so to me it's like, oh my gosh, Wade's gonna come sleep in my house and ski on my lake and all that other stuff. It's just really, I get as giddy about it as the people that are skiing with him today.
Doug is just an awesome guy, and he had vision. He saw this place, and he'd driven by on the freeway, and eventually, acquired it, and had this dream to, open up a dealership here and be able to bring people in and go, hey, you want to try this? Well, let's go right out back. And there's very few places in America that have this sort of setup that he does. It's really unique.
The clinics are for all ages and skill levels. But when pro wakeboarder Will Christian conducts her clinic, it's for girls only. Sorry, no boys allowed.
So the girls are all going to get to ride with Willow, and she's going to not only teach wakeboarding, she's going to teach wakeboarding, she might teach driving, she might teach trailering, and just to get women comfortable about being around their boats.
Take the handle across to your middle, keep going, and across to your left hip. Forget about the board. Your board, it's a given, it's in line with your hips. So all you got to worry about is your hips.
The ski season at the Liquid Edge lasts as long as possible, or as Doug would say, as long as the water isn't hard. To judge whether it's too cold to ski, there's something called the 100-degree rule.
The rule of thumb that a lot of water skiers will use is they'll use a 100-degree rule. And I'll use a 90-degree rule because I'm just not quite right all the time. And 90-degree rule is basically, or say 100-degree rule is the water temperature plus the air temperature has to equal 100. If the two of those equal 100, you go skiing.
Typically on a Saturday before we did all this, Doug would ski 10 sets. I would ski probably 6 in a day. And now we're lucky to get that in a week. Probably 2 weeks.
While Doug and Kristen are extremely busy running their business, it's a little easier given they live right next door. That arrangement has also made it easier on their family life too, allowing their son Ty to be part of the daily activities at the Liquid Edge.
And he just thinks that everybody walks to their pro shop to get to their kitchen. So it's really good. He'll come out and he'll help people, try on bindings and hang out. And he's not a very shy kid, so from being around all the people. So if we didn't have it that way, I don't think we could do it, because now we're open 24/7. And, if somebody wants to take a nap, they can go take a nap, and other two of us can be out here working.
Boating lifestyle that we lead is honestly, as long as there's gas in a boat, it's running. And that's kind of it. And if there's not people in our shop, we're on the boat. We live and breathe kind of the water and the water skiing. And obviously my wife and I couldn't ski 300 hours. So if you're willing to hold on to a rope, I'd pull you. I mean, that was my whole, I didn't care. As long as I'm in a boat and somebody's in the water, I'm happy. If people weren't in the water, then I was the one jumping in the water, and I'd be so exhausted by the end of the day. But as long as there was somebody in the water, I'm always happy.
The growth has been amazing, I guess, to see that there are so many people in Central Illinois that love to do this. I had no idea that there were that many people around this area that like to do what we do. So we've met a lot of great people by doing it.
From Farmer City, we headed south to Buncombe, Illinois, where we tried yet another new activity. Here's a hint: it involves ropes, special shoes, and an adrenaline rush you won't want to miss. Where the gently rolling hills give way to the rocky bluffs of southern Illinois is where you'll find this next adventure. You might say Lori and I got roped into trying something new. We went rock climbing.
Good job, Kate.
And although we weren't what you'd call experts, we did meet a family that definitely qualifies. Meet Eric Olner, his wife Kathy, and son Lucas. After climbing for most of his life, Eric decided he might as well make a living doing what he loves. So, in 1993, he decided to divert his intentions of owning an indoor climbing gym to teaching climbing skills in the outdoors. By 1996, the Vertical Heartland Climbing School was well underway.
Essentially, there are two halves to our school here, our business climbing service. We have a guide service where it's experiential in nature. We're taking people climbing who aren't climbers, and we provide all the equipment for them. We tie them in, and they get to come out and enjoy a climbing experience without any prerequisites needed. We take care of lots of Boy Scouts, church youth groups, Girl Scouts that come out here. More often it's Boy Scouts, and we're serving a market from Chicago to Memphis, and then from east to west, St. Louis to Indianapolis. We do groups up to 35 in number, and we work on an average ratio of 1 to 7. So for every 7 people in a group, there's going to be another guide. We split into subgroups. The climbs are set up, and we tie them in, and they have a great time climbing. And we start them out on the equivalent of the skier's bunny slope. Well, we have the climbers' bunny slope routes, and they get introduced to very doable climbs, low to the ground, not too high, get comfortable with the safety system and the communication and the movement and how everything works, and then we gradually stair step up to more difficult climbs. With the running philosophy of challenging yet attainable.
The Olners bought a sizable section of this bluff, known locally as Draper's Bluff, built their home at the base, and now spend most of their time climbing or teaching others, like us, how to climb the 100-foot-high cliffs. For them, climbing is a family affair. Even the dogs, Buddy and Julie, get involved. And although Eric has participated in competition climbing and has vast knowledge and education about it, the rest of the family is pretty talented too. 10-year-old Lucas has been climbing since before he could walk, and Eric's wife Kathy not only instructs, but climbs as well.
The time he was 2, he was going to the top of the cliff with me and getting into 100-foot heights, and of course with a harness and a rope on. So he's been climbing pretty much literally his entire life.
Peekaboo.
So my wife climbs. She heads up the guiding experiential half of our climbing service.
But even if you're not an expert climber, or even a climber at all,
Not all the way, not all the way. You gotta move the message.
the Olners say they've got something to get everyone's adrenaline pumping, from several established beginner climbs all the way up to expert routes. A typical day in Lick Creek, Illinois with the Olners would probably go something like this.
When a group shows up here to climb, we have the climbs already set up, typically, and we meet them in the parking lot, usually around 9 o'clock, and we bring them up to the cliff, and we have a briefing, morning safety briefing at the parking spot, and we outfit everybody with harness, helmets, and rock shoes, and then if the group is larger than 7, we split them up into subgroups, and then we just disperse to the climbs that are set up, and everything's tied in, all the knots are done for them, everything's rechecked and safety checked, and they have a good time climbing the particular route they're on, and then they'll rotate and move around, and then around noon, 12:30 or so, they'll take a break. We don't provide food. Groups bring up their food in the ice chest, and we'll transport it up to the cliff for them, and we'll have a break for lunch, 30 minutes to an hour, however long we take, and then we'll resume climbing in the afternoon, and usually go till 4:30 or 5.
And if you're really serious, Vertical Heartland offers a technical instruction program.
The other part of the business is more educational, instructional, where it's a small group format, 4 to 8 people maybe in a class, actually teaching hands-on technical climbing skills for those people who are wanting to be an independent climber. That's their objective.
Now, when you think of a typical climber, you might think of a thrill-seeking 20-something. And although there are plenty of those, you might be surprised that with the popularity of the sport, you'll find all kinds of people bucking the trend, including this special case Eric told us about.
His grandmother and her 2 teenage grandsons. And they all 3 climbed all day, and they had a great time. So that's something you're seeing more of now, because climbing has gotten more mainstream in the United States because of the advent of indoor climbing gyms. It's become multi-generational. So it's no longer just the radical thing for the 18 to 20-year-old crowd to do. Now you're seeing parents and their kids and grandparents hitting the rocks.
Whether it's to improve their technical skills or learn something new, climbers from all over come to Vertical Heartland to quench their thrill-seeking thirst. One thing that's always guaranteed here, you'll get a good workout.
You're always fighting the pump. You're getting tired, your calves, your forearms, your biceps, and it's a whole body workout. The back, the lats, the abs, all around, legs, everything. And then you move to the next climb, and it might work out a completely different set of muscles. So as you move around from climb to climb, and you're enjoying the activity, you're pumping the whole body. So it's a great way to stay in shape, and it's a great way to get in shape.
Not only does Eric enjoy the view from the top of Draper's Bluff, where on a clear day you can see Kentucky and Missouri, he loves what most climbers do, the challenge.
I suppose it's just the challenge and the environment that you're in. You're in places that normal, everyday folks in town, whatever, don't get to. So it takes you to some neat places, you know, whether I'm climbing here in southern Illinois or I'm climbing somewhere out west or out east. You get into some remote locations that are seldom occupied by humans, and the physical challenge to get there, the gymnastic flavor of the movement, and then of course the camaraderie with your partners.
That love of a challenge is what drove Eric to open his second business, a tree removal service.
I've moved into another business using my climbing and rescue skills, removing people's trees and tree limbs over their homes and garages and swimming pools where a bucket truck cannot access, and have named that Rope Science Tree Service. I'm strictly doing everything with ropes.
And as if he doesn't wear enough hats, you can add teacher and author to his list.
The third hat I wear, I work for an agency out in Sedona, Arizona. The home base is Sedona, called Ropes That Rescue, and that's a rescue school. And we're teaching rescue and industrial rope access to emergency departments, state and federal agencies, and other individuals who are wanting to learn technical rescue skills. I wrote a guidebook for the whole southern Illinois area for people who are doing technical rock climbing. You have Giant City, Fern Cliff, this place, then stone's throw from here is Cedar Bluff, and then Jackson Falls, which is part of the Shawnee National Forest, about 30 minutes east of here and just inside Pope County. And those 5 areas are what's covered in the guidebook. And essentially it covers, it provides maps, overall maps of the area, map of each individual area, and then each individual area is broken up into sectors where the map is exploded more, and then to the point where you have the trails outlined leading you to the various climbs, and then the climbs have a numeric grading system for difficulty assigned to each climb. The name of the climb, the equipment you need, and who put it up first, who climbed it first, who named it, and if possible, what year it was first climbed, and maybe some anecdotal comments about it. So, and then there's a pretty exhaustive history of climbing in this area that's included in this newest edition of the guidebook.
As we wrapped up our day at the Vertical Heartland Climbing School, I realized what I once thought was impossible was possible. I had never imagined I would be able to climb a rock all from what I learned in one day. But with the owner's philosophy of challenging but attainable, it's clear. Anyone can do it.
Anybody can do it, that's the thing. It doesn't matter what the physique is, because you just put that person on a slab that's appropriate for their ability level, and then of course we're keeping it where it's a little bit challenging, but yet it's still attainable, so the experience is positive. And I think because it's no fun to constantly not be able to do a climb, because you end up feeling defeated. But if you have to struggle and then you get to the top, it's a really gratifying experience.
Okay, and I don't know about you, but my arms are still a little sore from the wakeboarding and the water skiing.
I think mine are too.
You know, I cannot wait to do it again though.
Well, thanks for watching and probably laughing at us
Yeah.
this week on Heartland Highways. We'll see you next time.
Consolidated Communications offers customers high-speed internet, digital phone service, and digital TV service packages that include high-definition channels, DVR, and hundreds of sports, movies, and music channels. More information on these services is available at consolidated.com.